Let's dig into your experience so far in building on Lightning specifically. For any developers out there listening, or for people who have been interested in building new products on Lightning, what has your experience been like? Because you have built products in a past life outside of Lightning. How does that relate to the challenges you're seeing today in building on Lightning?
Yeah, well, the simple parts of Lightning are kind of magical. I mean, the first time you build an application that can request and, pay an invoice programmatically, and value is just instantly zapped across the internet. I mean, that is kind of a mind-blowing thing. It's instantly zapped across the internet. There's nobody that had to approve an application. You spin up a Lightning node, you get one channel in, and you can accept payments from 100 million Cash App users. I mean, that is an incredible innovation, and it's one that thousands of Lightning developers are going to continue to build on, going forward. But there are definitely still challenges, with building products on top of the Lightning network that people want to use. My opinion is that we need more ways to facilitate applications to connect and use your node. That's relatively easy today, or somewhat easy today on the receiving side, because we have things like Bolt 12 and things like LNURL, but it's really, really hard on the spending side. And unfortunately, a lot of the ideas for applications, like for example, Fountain, that stream sats, they need to be able to spend, right? They need programmatic access to spend from a user's node or wallet directly. Unfortunately, as Lightning is designed, every time you spend, you have to sign, a transaction, and there's not a lot of good ways to give an application like Vida access to spend from your wallet with limits, with limitations such as this app can only spend $50 a month, and anything more than that is not allowed, right? There's a lot of talk about ways to get around that, like account-based macaroons. There's ideas that you could generate a macaroon, which is essentially a key to access and spend from your node if it had these limits, but nothing is really widely deployed or available out there. That's one of the reasons why we are using LN Bits as our sort of path to do that today, because it's a service that you can run alongside your node. You can put a limited balance in an account that we have access to spend from, but we can't access anything more than what is in that wallet specifically given to us to use on your behalf on Vida. So that's like one of the biggest challenges out there. I feel like I would say we desperately need a solution for it, because every other person building an application on the Lightning Network using the Lightning Network is going to encounter the same problem.
Right. And so for today, the only solutions available now are you have to use a custodian or some kind of third party to set a limit, and then you talk to that third party rather than talking to the node. You mentioned a couple possible solutions people were thinking about. If you were in charge of solving this problem, or if you could unilaterally make this decision on how to make this functionality available for Lightning nodes, what would your thought process be? How would you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult problem, which is why there's not a widely deployed solution. But I think I would go the route with the account-based macaroons, where node implementations need to have an accounting system built in, that is standard with every nodes, where you can generate a macaroon or essentially an API key that has these spending limits or whatever limits you envision. You could even have time-based limits where you can only make one spending request an hour, or something like that. Whatever limits the application needs, you should be able to sort of ask the user to generate an access macaroon with those limits in place, and then have the user be able to safely give it to the service in order to spend from those according to those limits that you set. There's other problems with that, such as accessibility to the node itself. So for example, maybe you're running Raspberry Pi in your house, and you're behind a NAT, you're behind a router in your home, and it's kind of hard to have reliable access from a third-party application like Vida, to that without using something like Tor, which is unreliable in and of itself. So there's other things to solve. There's other pieces of the puzzle, but that would be generally how I would approach it. Running some software alongside your node, like LN Bits, which is awesome, is cool, but it's going to have the same adoption hurdles as every other software. So that's why I think it needs to be sort of a core part of the underlying Lightning node implementations if we want users to use services like this non-custodially. And until we have that, my opinion is that we're not going to see a lot of non-custodial applications being built.